So there's a rumor going around that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 will be coming to PlayStation 5 sooner than we think. And will this affect Ratchet & Clank? Let's take a look. How is it going, everyone? Blueknight here, and I'm back with a double topic video, which I haven't done for quite a while. Anyways, one topic will be affecting the other in some way, no question about it. And they are Insomniac Games' recent releases of both Spider-Man and Ratchet & Clank. It's been quite a while since I last talked about the iconic web slinger, so let's get straight into this. Apparently, there's a rumor going around since last week or so that the next Spider-Man game from Insomniac would release in 2021. And here's the quote from Push Square's article, which I'll link in the description below if you want to read the whole thing, saying, "Speaking on the latest Kinda Funny Gamecast, Imran Khan says, I know too much about Marvel's Spider-Man 2, so I can't speculate too much. I think a Spider-Man 2 will come sooner than we think." He also mentions a Christmas 2021 release window. Now, as with any rumor, I would take this with a grain of salt. But, as for a sequel happening, yeah, I can definitely see that. Especially when we factor in that the first game literally sold 3.3 million copies in its first 3 days of launch, making Spider-Man Insomniac's fastest best-selling game in their library, with Ratchet & Clank PS4 originally holding that title. As of July of this year, 2019, the game has sold over 13.2 million copies worldwide. That's downright impressive, and I can definitely see why Sony would want a sequel. Another thing to factor into this is that back in August of this year, PlayStation had acquired Insomniac Games as part of PlayStation Worldwide Studios. During that announcement, it was mentioned that both Spider-Man and Ratchet & Clank are vital PlayStation IPs. So it makes sense why Sony would want a Spider-Man sequel. For one, it's a vital franchise, and two, it's very profitable. But in 2021? It seems a bit early considering it took Insomniac 4 years to get the first game made, starting in 2014, which was the same year that Insomniac announced the Ratchet & Clank PS4 reimagining. Assuming that they started immediately on the next Spider-Man game after finishing the first one, it would be 3 years for the new Spider-Man game in development from start to finish, which would be a PS5 game rather than on PS4, which is about a year into the PlayStation 5's launch. And all of this bears the question, if it's even true that is, would we have to wait longer for a new Ratchet & Clank game if the next game was Spider-Man? And I would say yes, but also no. Reason being is Insomniac Games is capable of working on multiple projects at the same time. Like I mentioned earlier, they juggled Spider-Man and Ratchet & Clank PS4 at the same time, although a smaller team was assigned to Ratchet, not to mention the other 4 games that they released in 2016 with Ratchet & Clank. Now that Insomniac is a PlayStation studio, this means that their focus is primarily now on PlayStation exclusives like Spider-Man and Ratchet & Clank. Particularly meaning no PC, no Xbox games, or anything else outside of PlayStation. With that said, we did have rumors of a new PlayStation 4 Ratchet & Clank game earlier this year by Colin Moriarty, who was former head of IGN's PlayStation division. But with the PS5 being so close to launching, I'm thinking that the next Ratchet & Clank game would release on the PS5 instead. Again, provided that this Spider-Man rumor is true, then this could mean that Insomniac is already making the transition to next-gen hardware, likely including bringing Spider-Man and Ratchet & Clank over to the PS5. Another interesting thing I noticed is that this particular Spider-Man rumor popped up just a few days before PlayStation announced their new State of Play, which is set to begin tomorrow. and this also popped up about a week before the Game Awards this week. Now, I'm fully aware that PlayStation made it very clear for us to not expect any next-gen plans in this episode. But what if this new Spider-Man game is a cross-gen title, releasing on both the PS4 and the PS5? If that's the case, the new Ratchet Clank game could do the same, but I don't know. And seeing as how PlayStation likes to announce their exclusive games years before the game actually launches, it would make sense for Sony to announce it during either the State of Play or the Game Awards. If they intend on releasing it during the Christmas 2021 season, then now would be a good time to announce it, which would give the game about 2 years of advertising, just like the first game did. And to an extent, the same happened to Ratchet & Clank PS4. Just be sure to keep your expectations low for tomorrow's State of Play, alright? I don't want anyone to be disappointed if we don't get anything Sly, Ratchet & Clank, or Spider-Man revealed this time. I am in no way saying 100% that any of these will be there, but with Spider-Man, I'm just saying that the possibility is there. Nothing else, nothing more. So with that is the end of another video. And what do you guys think about all this? Be sure to let me know in the comments section below. Also, be sure to stay tuned to the channel just in case anything Ratchet & Clank or Spider-Man does come of this new State of Play and or the Game Awards. We can safely say though that Crash Bandicoot is likely to show up during both the State of Play and the Game Awards. Whether that's the new Crash game or the new CTR Grand Prix or both, I'll be covering it. So if you're a fan of Crash, I recommend staying tuned for that as well. And once again everyone, thank you all so much for watching and supporting the channel. I've been Blueknight, and I'll see you guys back here next time. Goodbye!